So this video is about judgment. And this is a difficult topic to actually talk about because it isn't so easy. We are grown up. I mean, when we grow up, we are taught about judgment. Everything's right, everything's wrong. There are some religions that really speak about judgment. We know, there are things that you don't do, like you don't put your hand on a stove because if it's hot, you're going to get burned. So you just know that you don't do that. You can learn to say please and thank you. You don't have to, but there's certain things that we just learn how to do in life. We learn that if you're in a relationship and you're being abused, physically, verbally, emotionally, you may want to step out of the relationship. You're judging the relationship to not be healthy. So I want to go back on that word judgment. Judgment is an illusion that you become attached to. Okay? So if you're in a relationship and you are with somebody who is harming you, you would normally judge them as an unhealthy, or I've even heard bad person. Okay? We do not have a right to judge. I always say to my clients, last time I checked, you or I aren't God, and if you were, please let me know, because if this person does exist, I'd really like to meet him or her, whatever it is, right? Everybody has a curriculum. We all come here to this earth. Buddha's first noble truth is life is suffering. This earth is a school. This is where we come to learn what it is we need to learn in this lifetime. We have karmic duties that we have to settle. And if you are with somebody, let's just say, that is abusive in any way, instead of judging them to be wrong, what you may want to think is, who am I to judge this person's curriculum? Right? Who am I to say you're wrong? This is a tough thing to understand. I'm not going to say that somebody hurting someone is acceptable. And this is a really hard concept, so you have to really think about this. No, it is not acceptable. And if somebody harms someone, then, they probably have to be removed from society and at times put into prison or somewhere that keeps us safe. Those that do not harm. That is their karma. If they're going to harm somebody, they need to, part of their karmic duty is to go be put in a facility where they can now do no harm. That is their karma. Is it right? Is it wrong? No. Their karma, their karmic journey was to come into this earth and learn whatever they had to learn to the point where they were put in prison. And hopefully they'll learn in this lifetime that that's not something they should be doing. And if they don't, they'll probably come back and do it again. Or I don't know what's going to happen. Maybe they'll come back being the victim and understanding how horrible it is. I don't know, but it makes sense. But back to, if you're in a relationship that, let's not say it's physically violent, but it's verbally and emotional violent. You don't have to make that, you don't have to judge the person as being horrible. What you might want to do is say, I'm going to have compassion. I'm not going to feel sorry for them. I'm going to have compassion for them and their journey. That doesn't mean I'm going to stay in the situation, because I'm going to have compassion for myself and I'm going to have some self-respect. And I'm going to check in with myself and make sure that I'm not being judgmental, right? I'm not going to say that you're wrong. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say, okay, I have a lot of compassion that you're choosing to behave this way. And whether you're feeling your karmic duty, I don't know. Most likely that's what's happening. But I hope you get the help you need. But I'm going to go take care of myself, and I'm going to go choose another way to live. a different lifestyle. So you see, I'm not judging them as right or wrong. I'm respecting their karmic duty. I'm respecting their curriculum, but I just don't want to really have anything to do with it. And I'm going to have compassion for them, because if they're behaving in this way, that means there's something going on. They're not very happy. Now, I work with clients, so I'm one of those people that would help someone like this. But in my own relationship, I would probably choose not to, because I don't want to be a therapist to someone that I live with. That's not what I'm looking for, but that is my choice. Another really big example is when you see terrible things happen to people. And I'm not going to go into detail, because there's a lot of horrible things that happen to people and animals. It's very hard to understand this, but you cannot judge what they've done is right or wrong. You can say that it's unacceptable, and again, these people need to be taken away into a place where they can no longer hurt someone. But this is the curriculum they came to, their karma. They have to learn their lessons, and some people are good at learning lessons and some people aren't. So they're going to have to live through it. And then the next time they come around, hopefully things will change. How, we don't know. And if I was the victim in the circumstance, then I would have to say that it's a lesson that I came here to learn also. Because if I'm with somebody that's harming me, then obviously, and I've been in this situation, there are obviously some lessons that I need to learn. Because for some reason, the two of us been placed together, because in this lifetime, we have both had to learn lessons. And when you look at extreme situations, as hard as that is to do, and again, I'm not condoning this behavior, but it's a very difficult thing, and this is a very difficult topic to discuss. But when you look at extreme situations, you have to understand that these people have come together for some strange reason to live out this part of their to live their curriculum in this lifetime. And once they learn their lesson, especially these victims, maybe they get to go on to a different lifetime, or maybe they've fulfilled whatever lesson they're supposed to learn, and they go off into we call love and light. There's nothing there. It's just love and light. Now, one of the things we all do is we judge ourselves. And the reason why we judge ourselves is that's what we've been taught. I'm not good enough. I'm not young enough. If I become older, people aren't going to think I'm pretty, or I'm not smart enough, or I'm not worthy. Society doesn't need me, which is not true, because the older you get, the more wise you become. Who says that because you have a few wrinkles doesn't mean you're still, worthy? What's that about? That's the media. I'm too thin. I'm not thin enough. I'm not intelligent enough. I'm not a good person. I made a mistake. I've made many mistakes. Personally, I've made some mistakes, some big ones. So what happens is you learn to judge yourself, because we've been taught not to do this. And then we know that we're wrong. And I'll use myself as an example. I've judged myself for aging, especially since this brain surgery happened to me. I aged quickly, very, very fast. It happened, and I can't tell you how fast I've aged, which has been a really big lesson in vanity. I am not my body. I am not my wrinkles. I'm a soul, coming in to have a human experience and learn lessons. And I even started feeling that unworthy because I'm wrinkled. I'm not like I was. And now no one's going to want to like me anymore or want to be with me. I'm married, so I don't have to worry about it. My husband doesn't care. But it's still in my head, because we've been brought up, most of us, that when you start getting wrinkles, you go get plastic surgery because you have to look a certain way. I won't, but that's what people do, some people. So I was judging myself as unworthy because I aged. I've judged myself in the past because I've made a few mistakes with my daughter. Am I a good mother? Yeah, I think I am. But yes, I've made some mistakes. And I would judge myself for being a bad mother. And I was told that by a few people. Incidentally, the people that told me that were people that made their own mistakes. It was very interesting. That took no personal responsibility. So I started judging myself as a bad mother, which means that when I would make decisions, I would overcompensate and do things. I would overcompensate. I would do more than I should in certain situations because I felt guilty because I was told I was a bad mother. And I didn't live up to the storybook syndrome, which says you have to be a certain way because we're, not human. When we're parents, we become these invincible, perfect people. But because I took on I'm not good enough, what I was doing, I was judging myself as being a bad mother. I was judging myself as not being good enough because I was old. I had judged myself before because if I gained a few pounds, that's taboo. You can't do that. So I didn't feel good about myself. I would judge myself as unworthy and deserving, so I would attract relationships that didn't treat me well. These are all lessons that I've come onto this earth to learn. And what you have to do is you have to realize the root issue of all of your issues. Where are these judgments coming from? And when you truly understand that if you rid yourself of judgment, if we all rid ourselves of judgment, we wouldn't have wars, we wouldn't have discrimination, we wouldn't have anything. Because who says anything or anyone is better? It isn't true. So what you want to do is start learning not to judge yourself and learning to forgive yourself for buying into the misbelief that it should have been, your circumstance should have been any other way. Because I know that, and I've had a lot of time to think about this before this brain thing happened to me 3 years ago, and before I've studied on it, but especially now I've had 3 years to really think. And this age thing really got me. It sounds very vain, and yes, it was, but thank God it didn't last long, but it did get to me. I have to tell you, it caught me by surprise. But I've had to learn to understand that I came onto this planet Earth because I had lessons to learn. And I've had some karma to clear. And I cannot judge my experiences as right or wrong because obviously they were lessons that I was supposed to learn in life. And whatever happened to me was only an opportunity. Whatever upset I had to experience was an opportunity for me to learn and grow up the spirituality of the ladder of spirituality. So when you look at situations that are, uncomfortable, instead of judging them to be right or wrong, whether it has to do with you or whether it has to do with somebody else, maybe seeing somebody that doesn't look the way you think they should, for you to judge and say, you don't look the way I, ego speaking here, think you should, so therefore you are wrong. That's a big judgment. You want to sit back and think, well, I'm going to forgive myself for buying into the misbelief that I have a right to judge anybody for anything they do because I'm going to respect their curriculum and not challenge it and not buy into the illusion that it's supposed to be the way society says it is. Because who am I? Maybe they're here to clear part of their karmic, their karmic duty so they can move on to another lifetime. We don't know. And the same thing goes for yourself. The same thing goes for me. The lessons I've had to learn, I'm not really excited about. I've had to really learn not to judge myself for thinking at times I wasn't a great mother or aging or whatever else. There have been many issues that I've had to work with. We all do. But that doesn't make me wrong or right. It's just a lesson that I've had to learn. So watch your judgments. Watch your judgments. If you really start paying attention to this, then what's going to happen is you're going to see how judgmental you are. If somebody's driving, I'm from LA, so somebody's driving a Mercedes and someone's driving a Ford, a lot of people in LA are going to judge you. Well, that's stupid because not everybody wants to drive a Mercedes. Some people want to drive a Ford. What does it matter what kind of car you drive, for God's sakes? It's a car. Who cares? But people sometimes are so busy judging themselves, saying, well, I have to drive a certain kind of car because then I look a certain way, and I don't want somebody to look at me like I'm nothing. So I'm going to drive a certain car and look a certain way so I can prove to everybody that I'm good enough and worthy. you are judging yourself as inadequate, and that is not true. So I'm hoping that this, this is a really big topic. I could go on for hours on this and give you a ton of suggestions. But your takeaway really is watch your judgments. Anytime you experience any upset within yourself, you are judging yourself. If you do something that is unacceptable, then you're going to have to suffer the consequences, but you don't have to judge yourself for it. Understand that you have been given an opportunity to learn a lesson and learn it. And hey, if that means going to prison, then you're clearing some karmic duty, and you have a chance to go ahead and learn your lessons and move forward in this lifetime or the next. If you're fortunate enough where you don't have to do this, or you're out of prison, or you're just like me, worried about maybe you made some mistakes as with your child, well, you have to forgive yourself for buying into the misbelief that you're not good enough and that you're not a person like everybody else, and you're going to make mistakes, and you can't judge yourself as this horrible person for doing it. You have to love yourself and forgive yourself for buying in, like, here we go, the misbelief that you have the right to judge yourself. Understand your lessons, clear them, and move forward. I hope this helps.